So Tick Stewart took the victory in race 1. Can he repeat that performance in race 2? Well, there are 21 others out there who think differently. To find out the answer, join us right after this break. Welcome back to Lydden Hill, just south of Canterbury in Kent, where we are poised for the second of 3 races here. We'll have the third race for you next week, but we ride on board with John Mickle. Nigel Kelsey is the man up front at the moment. There we're looking at the 21 car of Lydden Hills. Alongside him, Peter Morton. And on the outside of the front row, the white car there is Simon Durrell. Third row, we've got Mike Ives there and the missing car, Ian Sturt. So we're ready to rock and roll, I think. Yes, green lights are on. Oh, a perfect start by John Mickle. Launched himself round the outside there. It's a bit of a cavalry charge into Pilgrim's Drop, though. Nigel Kelsey's going to get swallowed up here. And Simon Durrell goes round the outside. Peter Morton trying to follow him. I'll tell you, there's 2 lines here at Lydden, a legend. Make it 3 if you like. Steve Thompson faces that wall of metal. Mark Hobbs in front of him. Goes down the inside. His teammate, Tick Stewart. Oh, there's contact back in the pack. Andy Craig is launched. Ben Collins is in the gravel. Keep the power on, Ben. Keep the power on. Keep the power on. Well done, son. Out he comes back up the hill. He'll rejoin at the back of the field. Meantime, Peter Morton has done a superb move up the inside of Simon Durrell. Durrell seemed to break just that little bit earlier than Peter Morton. But to be fair, he might have braked later and run round the outside. And there's contact at paddock again. Oh, and Lydden Hill spins off. Oh, we need to have a look at that again, I think. Lydden Hill's there. Well, did he jump or was he pushed? We'll make our minds up when we have a look at that again, but through they all come. Steve Thompson running out very wide there. Oh, and he's sideways, is Tomo. Tick Stewart goes through, so does Mark Hobbs. Well, he's got to do all that work again. These are the leaders. Peter Morton in the purple machine. In the white car, it's Simon Durrell. And back in the pack, they are squabbling over positions. Neil Thomas in 56. This was the incident where Andy Craig ran up over the top of one of the team twin cars. Ben Collins found himself in the gravel, kept the power on, and there is the incident with Lydden Hills and John Mickle. I don't know, you sort it out amongst yourselves. They'll argue about it later, that's for sure. Anyway, let's recap where we are. Gary Thomas is on a charge. He's right behind Nigel Kelsey. The leaders are at Pilgrim's Drop. They'll come up the rise. It really flattens it out there. It's quite a steep hill, that. Walked up there this morning, and it climbs all the way up. You crest it, then drops down, turning right-handed all the way you go. And if you can carry that speed down the straight here and get late on the brakes into the left-hander, it can do your lap time a huge amount of good. Through they'll come. Mike Ives has re-welded his car, by the way. We heard him say earlier that had a problem with that, and they welded it all back together to get him out for the second race. He said, second race, here we come, and he was a man of his word. Great sight they make down the hill. There's a brilliant scrap going on there between Tick Stewart and Rob Fountain. Chris Fountain, his brother, has retired, incidentally. There's a car parked there in the centre, but we're on board here with Tick Stewart now, right behind Rob Fountain. Oh, you wouldn't think there was room there, would you? Tick's getting all excited in the car. Mike Ives was the victim there as he was swatted back by Tick Stewart. And they're still hammer and tongs at it with Simon Durrell there in the mixed 96 car. Climb the hill. These Legends cars all using Yamaha 1200 engines, and they have a huge amount of power. They have about 250 brake horsepower per tonne. They only weigh 500 kilograms, incidentally, and use a 5-speed sequential gearbox. That's what powers them round. At the moment, John Mickle making every good use of that, but he's going to run out wide at paddock. Just 2 wheels on the grass there as he crosses underneath our position here, and side by side they're going to be. Gary Thomas is taking advantage of that. Thomas has got the inside line. Mickle will be forced wide, but recovers brilliantly, it has to be said. Well, here's Tick Stewart. He's screaming away in that car, enjoying every second of it, down the hill. Thomas, this time he's got to go through. Thomas at the bottom of Hairy Hill goes through, but he runs wide. Mickle will try and fight back. I think young Gary has protected his line admirably there. Bit of tyre smoke as he brakes. Swings it round the hairpin. Now, in the 56 car there is Gary's cousin, Chris Thomas. Chris, who had a spin in the earlier race, wasn't pleased with that, but at the moment he's tigering away there in 5th place. Good line through paddock. Keep an eye on whether he picks that position up for you in a moment. And Steve Thompson is thoroughly enjoying himself. He preferred to be up the front, I think. Well, Chris Thomas didn't find a way past John Mickle that time. Mickle protected his line, but Thomas there in the white and red car. John Mickle in the yellow team brass car and braking heavily through the left-hander. That's Rob Fountain. Rob and his brother formed Team Twin and going very nicely too. Their first year for them in Legends. Not so for this man John Mickle there in the yellow car, and certainly not for Tick Stewart. Tick, who was the 1996 Legends champion, went off and tried a couple of other formula, did half a year, or the best part of a year last year, and really fighting now for the championship this year. So too is his teammate Steve Thompson, who needs to perhaps just be a bit tidier through there, but it's easier said than done. Well, making it look very, very easy at the moment is Peter Morton. I'm sure he was winding us up before, you know. He said, he showed us actually, there's a stud bar that holds the engine together. He was really worried that that was going to come loose. They thought they'd stripped the thread on the engine, as you may recall him saying earlier on, but at the moment that engine is holding together superbly. It sounds as sweet as a nut as he goes past us, but we're watching back through the field as they all swing on through. Been very impressed with Rob Fountain. He's certainly got to grips with the equipment very quickly indeed, and to be keeping pace with Tick Stewart like he is a real testimony to his driving ability. Oh, and Mickle's lost the place finally. All the pressure being applied there by Chris Thomas, and Mickle ran out wide, and Chris Thomas really just wiped his feet on a welcome mat and walked on through. Ooh, heavy on the brakes, John. Well, that's how close they are, you see. Mickle there. He'll take the wide line up the hill. Let's ride with him. Tuck him behind. You can't really get a drag in these. You have to just find your own line. Well, down the hill, on their final lap they are. Just a couple of corners to go for Peter Morton, and he's on his way to a terrific victory for him. And well liked and respected in Legends. Takes the checkered flag. Great performance by him. Oh, and Gary Thomas is finishing on the grass. Well, I think he just held on to third place, but he was definitely all over the grass there. Tick Stewart will finish back down the order, but he won't be worried. He wanted the points. That was the more important thing as far as he was concerned. And Steve Thompson finishing. But there is the race winner, Peter Morton. Excellent drive by him. Made it look very easy, but he had Simon Durrell battling away behind him in second place. And let's get confirmation of that race 2 result. There we are, Morton and Durrell first and second respectively. Gary Thomas on the grass in third place. Chris Thomas, his cousin, picks up 4th. Mickle back to 5th, and Tick Stewart the champion in 6th. Were you finishing on the grass there, Mr. Thomas?
I certainly was, Paul. Yes, I was trying all the track and a little bit more. Chaps gone out front and got a respectable speed going. I was catching them, but once again, another couple of laps and it would have been a good race. A bit unfortunate I didn't get through, but I've had 2/3 now from the middle of the pack, so it's looking good for the final.
Got a good start, got away, it was really nice, but I made one crucial mistake at the very beginning, coming into left-hander and braked the fraction too early. Saw Peter on my inside and you know, gave him some room, and away we went. Now we've got the car going nicely. We made a couple of adjustments since the first race and got a couple more to do, but definitely nice to be up there again.
So are you hiding your light under a bushel? What's all this about an engine's going to blow up?
Yes, it's true. We do have a problem under there where one of the head studs is working when it's way loose, but I put that to the back of my mind and let's just get on and forget it. If it goes bang, it goes bang. Right at the beginning with the delayed start, I said to Simon, I says, look out for me, I'm coming around the outside. But unfortunately, he braked late going into the left-hander and I took advantage. I just braked a little bit later, up the inside of him, and we were away. Simon's a great lad to race with, you know. He can really put the pressure on, but I think round here today I've just got that little bit of an edge on him, but I could see him there all the time, and Gary Thomas was coming pretty quick. The setup that we've got now really suits me. It seems to suit most of the tracks, and I think results are coming now. It's time to show.
So a great result then for Peter Morton, and that will help him in his championship standings. That's all for us for this week. Join us again at Lydden Hill, where we'll have the 3rd and final race for you, and that's your... Welcome to Lydden Hill and the next thrilling instalment of the Old Spice Legends Championship, where Tick Stewart is currently the leader, but he's being chased very hard indeed by the other 23 drivers, all of whom want to get their hands on that title. Well, we've got the third race of 3 from Lydden today, and we'll see how that turns out later on in the programme. But first, here's a look back at races 1 and 2.
Championship leader Tick Stewart bagged the points in the opening race, but for second place in the championship Ian Sturt, the outcome wasn't as favourable. Out of Pilgrim's Drop on lap 5, Ian scattered various bits of metal all over the track, and later he explained what happened.
We had a little bit of a problem, the prop shaft fell off and ripped the whole of the engine out, so not a good day, but that's what happens when you do your home meeting and everybody expects you to go well. But we'll live to fight another day.
Will you get the car repaired for the second and third races?
I don't think so. I think there's too much damage to it underneath. But we'll try.
And with the car back in the pits, Stuart Latham and the boys set about the rebuild. It would be a race against the clock. The opening 2 races here were eventful for many, to say the least, starting in Silver 6 with Brands Hatch race winner Andy Craig, one of many caught in the thick of it. Team twin driver Chris Fountain was the unlucky victim, into the Devil's Elbow in race 2, and the pair touched. Not surprisingly, they had different stories.
I was following one of the Fountain cars. It got very sideways coming out of turn 1. I got the power on clean, which meant that I could get up the side of him for a nice, fairly routine braking manoeuvre into turn 2. But he obviously hadn't seen that I was there, and he went to pull in to do all his braking, and I ended up on the grass, unfortunately. So I was faced. It was either try and turn back into him or go up the bank. And having seen what happened to the Formula First boys, I quite fancy trying to stay on the track. So unfortunately, in doing that, we've bent it, and I was out of the race.
I went for the inside line coming up to a tight bender, and I thought no one's going to come on the inside, so I just decided to show me the underneath of their car and come straight over my wheels. Number 6, can't remember his name. He's a good old boy and everything. I just don't think there's no room there, that's all. Luckily it hadn't done any damage, but I pulled over all the same. You know, I wanted to be able to get it out for the third one, so we'll be there in the third one.
We can't work out what's been bent on it because everything's still straight. Any ideas?
Not a clue, but why do you think something's bent then, if nothing, you can't see anything bent?
Well, I'm not an engineer, Paul, but this wheel is pointing that away, and that wheel's straight. So it's something somewhere is bent. We just have to try and find out what it is, because we can't just straighten it up, because something could be dangerously bent somewhere. I don't know what it is.
John and I, as we went into the bottom bend there, I thought I'd given him enough room to go through the inside, but we just touched wheels and it just threw me up in the air. I was lucky not to roll, really. But quick 360 in the gravel and we were away again, but you got it all to do when you're right back there.
I must admit, it got a bit close. We come up to the elbow, whatever that bend's called, and I went on the inside, Darren was on the outside, and before I knew it, I just looked and Darren was flying. I thought I'd give him plenty of room, and he thought he'd give me plenty of room. I've had a word with him, and he's got no animosity about it, so it's just one of them unlucky incidents.
We've got a bit of a problem with the car. It's getting stuck in between 4th and 5th gear, so it's acting like neutral. So actually just what happened in the last race, I'm just getting level with people coming into a bend, or actually just going down the straight, and actually just changing to 5th, there's no momentum, and they get past you again, so you have to do it all again, which takes another lap to actually catch up with them and get past them. So I have to be a little bit more severe with the gears, I think, in this one.
Where are you using 4th to 5th on this circuit?
Mainly you're just snatching 5th, literally, as you're coming down the hill into start-finish straight. Just quickly snatching 5th. It's only for a second or two, 5th, and back down a gear again. But that's what's happening. A lot of times as you're clicking down as well, and the fault is catching neutral. And when there's no momentum on the wheels, it gives you so much push. Then obviously you've got the gravel and everything else to worry about, and then you start fumbling with the gears. So it certainly keeps you awake out there.
Newcomer Rob Fountain is getting to grips with Legends racing quicker than most, and in race 2 battled brilliantly with current championship leader Tick Stewart. Rob's aim was to get on Tick's pace by mid-season. How did he rate his performance in the scrap with Tick?
Yeah, it's one of the best ones I've had in Legend cars. It's pretty tense. There's a little bit of contact on both parts, but not too serious. It was good racing.
Yeah, these youngsters up that hill, these big old boys, we can't get up the hill. We're all right coming down, but it's going up the problem. If he'd have backed off and sat in behind me, and probably we could have caught the next lot, you know, but I was at being a bit defensive and trying to get a quick lap in, and it was a really tough race. I mean, he's a good little driver. I mean, he'll be there next year, no without a shadow of a doubt.
And one man who was hoping to be closer at this point in the season was number 4, John Mickle. How was his bad run affecting his hopes of stealing the championship?
It's affecting my hopes because the rest are still pulling away from me, but we haven't lost the championship until we lost it, so anything could happen. You know, they've only got to have a couple of bad meetings like I'm having. I hope they do anyway. And we have some good ones and it will all come back again. As I say, we were leading it after Pembrey. We was 150 points clear, I think. And we've been 3 meetings, I'm about 600 points behind. So we've had a disastrous 3. But hopefully it will all come back together. There's a long way to go. I think it's 11 rounds. So we've got loads of time, I hope.
Just hope to have a bit of luck, really. I've had so much bad luck lately, and I just like to finish a race in the top 3 for once. That was all.
I don't like to worry, but somebody's nicked your car.
Perhaps it would drive it for me, might do better.
Ian Sturt had a problem in race 1 when his prop shaft tried to enter the car. Well, they've been working furiously on the car. They didn't get it out for the second race, but are they going to make it for the third and final race here from Lydden?
This one's ready now to go in, so fingers crossed, probably about another half an hour.
How's Ian?
Ian's really lucky. He spent all the tunnel in the car itself and bashed his knee, but yeah, it could have been worse. It could have come through the tunnel and no knee.
We're trying hard. The boys are underneath. Just got a bit of a problem with the clutch, but the engine's all running. Just got no drive at the moment, but take me after the boys. I've been working flat out. So see how it goes.
What's the problem with the clutch?
Because we've changed back to the other engine, for some reason we blew the prop shaft off it. It took the clutch master cylinder with it. So we put another clutch master cylinder on, which is slightly different than the one we had before. So it's all to do with the length of the rod. So that's what we hope.
Having won race 1 and landed 6th in race 2, what was Tick looking for in the final?
Yeah, I'd be happy with the finish, to be honest. I mean, 2 of the guys who were 2nd and 3rd in the championship, they fell out and dropped off and spun out. And so, I mean, yeah, finish. That's the game.
Right, we're on board here, coming up onto the start-finish straight. Just waiting for the green lights to go green. Bang, off we go. Foot flat to the floor, up into 3rd, up into 4th. Stay nice and tight, because it's actually a double right-hander here, which looks like one single bend. A little bit of opposite lock where the back is braking. Up into 5th. Coming down to the left-hander before the long hairpin. Down another gear. Stay nice and tight. Drift out a little bit wide, keep the foot flat on the floor, come up to the hairpin. At the last minute, just dive over to the left, down 2 gears, nice and sideways out. Round we go, coming down the long hill into the start-finish straight again, up into top gear, nice and wide, coming over to the apex, clipping the apex, try and stay tight here, you don't want to run too wide, otherwise you're on the grass into the barrier.
Has to be said, the 54 team have done a quite superb job to get Ian Sturt's car put back together and ready to race. To find out whether he can make the best of it in race 3 from here at Lydden, join us after the break.
Welcome back to Lydden Hill, where the pace car lights are off and they're about to get underway. A front row that sees the rebuilt engine and gearbox of Ian Sturt line up along the lady in this race, Lisa Morgan. She's on the outside. And, well, will Ian's team have done the job for him? We're about to find out. That's the view from Tick Stewart's car. And up ahead of him, his teammate Steve Thompson. What a great battle they had in race 1 last time out here. Well, we get the green lights and away we go. And Steve Thompson floors the car. On the inside right there is Rob Fountain, the youngster. And ahead of us, John Mickle in yellow 4. And round out of Pilgrim's Drop they come. And Andy Craig runs a little bit wide there. Tick Stewart going around the outside of Simon Durrell in 96. And Thompson slots inside. 22 cars absolutely hammer and Toms into the Devil's Elbow, and it's Sturt who leads. It's been a cracking start by Neil Thomas also. He's slotted up into 2nd place, but he's under massive pressure there from the Fountain boys. And Steve Thompson going sideways through the elbow, 3 abreast at Hairy Hill, and into the hairpin they go. Mickle on the outside. Look at that gaggle of cars in the middle there. Hey, they all want the same positions, I think, but it is Ian Sturt who leads them down into paddock the first time. A 10-lap race. And through they stream. Glorious sight they make. Oh, no, wide has gone another of the Thomas cars. That's Chris Thomas off into the gravel trap at paddock. Well, he tried to take a wide line, but it didn't work out for him. So, once again, they come towards us, all jockeying about, and the 2 team brass cars side by side. Here, though, the battle for the lead. The leader at the moment in 54 is Ian Sturt. Fountain Rob behind him. Then there comes Neil Thomas, that is, and behind him Darren Hills. Darren desperately needs a good finish in this race because the leading point scorers are just starting to edge ahead of him. Around the outside goes Neil Thomas, the older statesman of the Thomas dynasty in Legends Racing. His son and his nephew Gary and Chris respectively, both racing in this championship again this year, and there is Sturt under pressure. That's Darren Hill's 4th place at the moment, and in terms of the championship was lying 4th overall when they arrived here at Lydden, but he's dropping back at the moment, and here goes Chris Fountain with a mighty manoeuvre around the outside. Oh, brilliant manoeuvre by Chris Fountain, taking the lead away from Ian Sturt, the specialist on this circuit. Now you have to wonder whether that means that all the rebuild work that the Avondale racing team have done has paid off for Ian Sturt, or whether he's just trying to play it all in. They really had a monumental blow-up in that opening race. Hard Hills has spun! Oh, poor old Darren Hills, he's having an absolute nightmare at the moment. Well, back here in 4th place we are with John Mickle. Ahead of us, Neil Thomas in the red car. There is Sturt 2nd place. Tick Stewart now up into 5th. There is Tick Stewart. Down the hill he drops. He said he got the momentum down the hill, but that's your race leader, Chris Fountain. Well, I know it says Stuart Miller on the car, but I promise you it's Neil Thomas inside it. Chris Thomas there parked in the gravel, and this a scrap for the middle order. Silver 6, Andy Craig. Peter Morton with a dive on the inside of Mike Ives. That's the Yorkshire battle. Oh, and Andy Craig gets it out wide. And that's cost him at least 1 place, and he might lose another to Mike Ives as well. We're back on board with Tick Stewart, riding along in 5th place. See the gap there up to 4th, drop it down the gearbox, into the Devil's Elbow. Nobody on the inside, swing it through. The back end gets out, but there is Ian Sturt. I'll tell you, so much blood, sweat and tears have been spilled in that paddock while I've been rebuilding that car. I can't tell you how much work has gone into it, but at the moment this is a stunning performance by the race leader Chris Fountain in blue 52, one of the team twin cars, and his twin brother Rob back in the order as well. That's John Mickle, 4th place, poised to pounce for another position, and Steve Thompson has a look up the inside of his teammate Tick Stewart. I think Tick would have slammed the door in his face there if he'd tried to walk on through. The 41 car there of Tomo. Steve Thompson lying 6th in the championship when they arrived here, and is this a challenge for the lead? It might just be. Ian Sturt's gone back up the inside, and Chris Fountain has to give way. So Chris Fountain loses the position. He's down to 7, but he's going to have a re-go on the inside. It'll be the outside for the hairpin, all of which has allowed this man, John Mickle, to close up. And Mickle led the championship after 3 rounds, takes the line that is wide and handsome round the top of the hairpin. They'll drop back down Hairy Hill. And in one of these Legends cars with their 1200cc engines, it is exactly that, very hairy indeed. And Mickle round the outside of Thomas. Mickle's going to be careful not to run wide. Then he's pulled off the manoeuvre there. Oh, brilliant stuff from John Mickle. Demotes Neil Thomas back, and so too Tick Stewart and Steve Thompson coming through as well. It's all changed at the front. This is just quite stunning stuff. And Peter Morton there in 32 has latched onto this battle as well. This though the scrap for 2nd place now, allowing the race leader up ahead of us, Ian Sturt, to pull away. They're at the elbow. Mickle on the inside, Stewart on the outside, protects the position from his teammate Steve Thompson. Peter Morton looks as though he picked up a slot there as they go up Hairy Hill into the braking area. Oh, Morton late on the brakes. A locked front right tyre there from Peter Morton. Can he hold on? He's on the inside of Steve Thompson. Tomo's going to lose a place to the man from Cleckheaton. Peter Morton then sneaks on by. He really is on it this weekend, Pete Morton. He was saying that he got a problem with his engine. One of the engine studs had caused him a drama, but here's a great scrap for 2nd place, and Tick Stewart's going to find himself 2 wheels on the grass, trying to get around the outside of John Mickle. Mickle holds his line though. Stewart then cuts across to try and go on the inside title line. He's almost urging round the corner. Great scrap between these two. Peter Morton is there, thinking these two are going to take each other on if they're not careful, and Morton goes up the inside of Stewart, and he hits John Mickle. Mickle sideways. Oh, well held John Mickle, but that's cost Tick Stewart. He backed off there, I think, thinking that they were both going to end up in the kitty litter, but Tick Stewart drops back a place. His teammate Steve Thompson in 41 on the outside of him, and look who's trying to get back into this as well. Neil Thomas poised behind in 57. Stewart's going to hold the inside line down through paddock though. We're right on board with him. There's his teammate's front wheel on the outside. But Peter Morton, well, talk about nudging through. Nudged John Mickle and snuck through on the inside. He's under pressure himself though. He's going to see Tick Stewart on the inside of him. We watch from Steve Thompson's car. Oh, it's all a bit tight through there. And Gary Thomas comes through. Now they touch and they're sideways. All sorts of scrambling. Oh, Chris Fountain's in the gravel trap. We've got Gary Thomas on the rallycross course. That's not going to do his car any good. The leaders make their way through. Further back though, oh, Thomas has got a problem. His Oh, well, he's in the tyre wall. Suspension, front end, all damaged. He's very unhappy with that. You can see the body language in that car, but he's going no further in that. The marshals will get it out of the way. It's all part and parcel of Legends Racing. Tick Stewart there, back in third place. Now needs to hunt down John Mickle. Mickle's built about a car length's advantage, but they're only 5/8 scale, these, of American 30s cars. So a car length's advantage is not much at all, really. Now this is scrap for third place between Steve Thompson and fourth place Peter Morton. But Ian Sturt, what a lead he's got there. Fantastic stuff. Into the Devil's Elbow he goes. Tick Stewart's trying to get around the outside of John Mickle. He'll cut back to the inside. Oh, Neil Thomas has gone hurtling off into the gravel. Well, he came flying down the inside of Peter Morton, and Morton's out. Well, dramatic stuff there at the Devil's Elbow. Bit of bumping and boring going on at the top of Hairy Hill as well. Well, Neil Thomas there looked to me like he lost his brakes. He went straight on into the gravel trap there, was launched up into the air with contact with Pete Morton, but they're both out. And this is second place squabble. It couldn't be tighter. Contact again. Oh, and they're about to start the final lap. The two teammates are spun out onto the centre. They'll rejoin. Well, John Mickle, I think, has got a puncture. That's the problem. And he got it sideways. Ooh, Darren Hills nearly takes out Tick Stewart there as he rejoins. Well, I suppose the blame could lie with Tick there. Look at the front wheels on that car. He's going nowhere very quickly, that's for sure. He'll drop down the order, but at least he's back in the race, which is more than can be said for others. Now that puts Andy Craig up to third, Simon Durrell up to fourth place in 96, Rob Fountain in fifth in 51, Mike Ives is now sixth. As we get into the closing stage, look at the battle Tick Stewart's having with he's got one wheel pointing to Rochester and the other one pointing to the Dover tunnel, I think. Anyway, here comes Ian Sturt to take a quite brilliant victory. Oh, what a result for the Avondale team. John Mickle will just hang on to second place. Rob Fountain will come home in fifth behind Andy Craig and Simon Durrell. Oh, and Steve Thompson's lost it in the gravel. He spins across. Will he cross the line? Yes, he does, but I think he crossed it backwards. Oh, my word. Well, the legends keep serving it up, don't they? Especially for this man. Ian Sturt with a supreme victory. After all the work, they've spent 3.5 hours rebuilding that car and all the tackle underneath the bonnet there. Peter Morton won't finish, so he's got some work to do between now and Mallory, and you can see the front wheels on those. Turn it left and it goes very left, turn it right and it goes hugely right. That's the championship leader, Tick Stewart. He's a bit bemused. Well, Ian Sturt there and Andy Craig, first and third respectively, and let's get confirmation of that result. John Mickle taking second place between the two, and in fourth Simon Durrell, with Rob Fountain back in fifth place. Mike Ives and Mark Hobbs sixth and seventh. Let's hear though from the winner.
We did win it, and then we owe it to the boys. They put the car back together, fantastic. We lost the clutch on lap 2, so we were changing up and down the box without a clutch, so fantastic, I'm ecstatic.
That must count as one of your best wins ever, isn't it, Ian?
The most meaning one, yeah, for the amount of work we've had to do on the car today, yeah, that's the best one to win.
What about this team of yours?
Fantastic, just look at them, they're still working on the car now.
We had a puncher, Pete come in the back of me, about 3 laps, 4 laps from home, we had a puncher, as you can see on the car, and I was just holding them all off. I needed the points. Luck might be changing today, eh?
Bit lively, wasn't it? I think we were going backwards and we were selecting forward gears, but he had a puncher, that was his problem. He just tried to take an inside line out the bend and he just moved across, slapped me, I then hit my teammate, and we both went round like pirouettes, didn't we? Toval and Dean, eh?
It was absolutely brilliant. There was cars going here, there and everywhere, just kept picking them off one by one. And there was someone up there just looking after me because there was accident after accident and I was just missing them. I knew my luck couldn't run that much. So there was the 3 of us all going down the start-finish straight. John Mickle just seemed to veer right for some reason. Someone said he had a puncher, but I couldn't really see. I was just too busy to concentrate trying to do the pair of them. Got next to him going down the start-finish straight. And unfortunately, as I see him coming across, I hit the brakes. But when you have a look at the front bumper, it's bent forwards. So what's happened? I've just clipped Tick's bumper as he's come across, which, as you saw, sent us both absolutely flying. But no, I'm happy. It's the first time this season I've finished 3 races.
And those 3 race finishes put Steve Thompson in 6th place in the championship, still led by Tick Stewart, but John Mickle is now up to 2nd with Gary Thomas in 3rd place. Darren Hill's up to 4th, Ian Sturt back in 5th. Let's hear though from Gary Thomas.
I'd overtook Steve Thompson and also gone into Cheston's underneath Peter Morton. Had the line, was 3/4 of the way past him. He just turned me straight back across, which flipped me up in the air. I come back down and landed on the curb, which is the exit of the rallycross track, which flipped me back up in the air again. That obviously broke all the suspension. When I come back down and landed, there wasn't nothing there, no brakes, nothing, and obviously went off big style. But obviously I won't be hitting the fence myself next time because I won't be out there, so I can pick on someone else.
I've had a brake problem with the car all weekend, and it was fine in that race until that corner. I jumped on the brakes and absolutely nothing. The pedal was hard, but no brake at all. And at that point we're doing probably 90, we're flat out in fifth, and that was scary. I thought I'd take to the grass to avoid them, but, you know, it was obvious someone was going to get involved in an accident, and unfortunately it was Peter Morton.
That was a bit hair-raising, wasn't it? Eh? Hang on to those handlebars, here we come. There was cars coming from every angle. It was a case, I wanted to follow tick. I thought if I follow tick the Meister, I'll be able to, you know, keep up there with the running. And then Gary's father, Neil, came right up the inside, turning just before the left-hander, with infamous tail, no brakes. Goodbye Vienna, the rest was history. But what a race, eh? That's what the people come for, eh? Action. Luckily, the car's in one piece. We've just got a bent ball joint and a couple of wobbly wheels, but they'll sort the potholes at Mallory, won't they?
It's our second best result. But it's balmy though, because these are what the Old Spice Legends are about. You never know what you're going to get. You can take the form book, you can take the guys who are on form with the best prepared cars, put them at the front of the grid. Means nothing, means absolutely nothing. You've got to get to the finish line quickly, without going off.
Both the Spice cars nearly took me out in the last few laps. Tick came straight off the grass and almost caught the back corner of the car. And how I didn't miss him, I don't know. And then Steve Thompson, as he spun on the last corner, that must have been a fag paper between us, and that would have been two big ones, but I was glad to get away with no damage at all, really. Hopefully Mallory will be a lot better. I usually do fairly well there, so I'm hoping to get a few points back, perhaps have a win for a change.